So let's go on the scene right now to Georgia. Election officials there saying Georgia has already been the target of election disinformation. A false video showing a man who claims to be a Haitian migrant saying he voted several times for Vice President Kamala Harris. That video has already gone viral. Our disinformation desk correspondent Liz Landers joins me on the scene in Washington, D.C. with more. Liz, doesn't seem to matter whether the information is true or false. These videos are racking up millions of views.
Yeah, Del, this false video seen thousands of times on X claims to show Haitian immigrants in Georgia voting several times in multiple counties. But here's how we know that it's fabricated. The speaker, who appears to be reading from a script, claims he and the other supposed immigrants in the car here received their U.S. citizenship after only being in the country for 6 months, a time frame that is virtually unheard of. Becoming a U.S. citizen typically requires individuals to be permanent residents for at least 5 years, 3 if they are married to an American. So that doesn't add up. There are other ways to tell that this is a fake, too. In Georgia, there are several checks in place for verifying voters' information. According to the official website for the state of Georgia, poll workers will check every ID to ensure voters are at the correct polling place and registered to vote. These poll workers can also scan the barcode on the back of the ID to ensure that the ID is real and matches a registered voter in their system. We also spoke to Gabe Sterling. I had a conversation with him. He's a top elections official in the state. He told Scripps News that their office did run the ID number displayed on one of the IDs in that video, and that it was not real and the number was not attached to anything or anyone. He also said it is not possible to go from county to county to cast multiple votes. There are checks and balances in place for that. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger requested that social media companies and specifically Elon Musk remove the video from X. But as of this morning, not only is the video still up on X, but it has been added to the election integrity community that is urging users to share potential instances of voter fraud and irregularities that Americans are experiencing in the 2024 election. Del.
Liz, I want to go back to another story that you did, which is that we saw earlier this week those voting machines that were being tampered with. In one case, they were set on fire. You told our viewers something that I did not know, which is that there are stepped-up security efforts now around the country to make sure not only are these machines safe, these ballot boxes safe, but also if you think you're going to tamper with a situation, you are being watched.
Yeah, of course. And that was also an example in Georgia because we were on the ground there reporting in Georgia, and we spoke with an elections official in Muskogee County, which is in the Columbus area. This is not Atlanta, not these big suburbs. And even in these other smaller counties, they're taking extra precautions to make sure that these ballot drop boxes are safe and secure. She said that they have one ballot drop box in that community now, has a 24-hour surveillance camera on it. It is also in a municipal building that has a sheriff's deputy there most hours of the day. So if people think, she was saying that if people think that they can walk into these ballot drop box areas and stuff them with additional fake ballots, there are just so many checks and balances in place to make sure that doesn't happen. You would be caught on camera, and then also you can't just print ballots in these states. They have barcodes. There are all these different systems to check and make sure that the ballots are real in the counting and tabulation process. Del.
Liz, final question before I let you go, which is that even if someone does slip through the cracks, correct me if I'm wrong, and this dates back to the last election, there aren't enough ballots that could be stuffed into a system that would affect the outcome of an election. We're not looking at Florida where there was a 535 ballot difference between Al Gore and George W. Bush. Is that a safe assumption?
Well, that is what we heard from the intelligence community and also from the cyber infrastructure security community last time around in 2020, that no, the elections were not tampered with. It was the safest and most secure election in U.S. history. And these officials saying that to assuage voters in this country, that if you cast your ballot, that it will indeed be counted. And even if there are very few instances of fraud, and by the way, in 2020, there were a few instances of fraud where people voted fraudulently for the former president. I covered a few of those cases out of the state of Florida, actually, that if there were those few instances in various states across the country, it was never enough, Del, to change the outcome of the election last time around.
Yes, the head of CISA, Chris Krebs, at that time said it was the safest and most secure election, 2020, in the nation's history. He was fired. Our disinformation desk correspondent, Liz Landers. Liz, as always, we thank you very much.